We're in the village of Barningham, and this is the church of St. Andrew. And a pair of double gates. And the first thing we see to our right is a magnificent war memorial. That is terrific. So that's the Second World War. And this is the 14, as they have here, 19 war. Some churches put it as 1914, 1919, and some 1914, 1918. So the churchyard this side is devoid of graves. I think they've been moved. Quite old ones there. And then possibly there are headstones left in this area, which has been left to nature. You can see double one there. More up there. Let's take a look at the church on this side. Apart from the tree growing out of it. These buttresses are very old. They're old flint ones. This end part of the church is rendered. Starting to show some aging now. This is all flint. Some major repair work's been done here. There's a beautiful doorway that's been filled in, and something above it. So it's difficult to tell whether that was, probably that was a decoration in flint of the original doorway there. Birds flying around from trees here. Churchyard is surrounded by houses. And at the back of the church here, away from the road, we've got some older headstones. It's kept in very good condition here. All this is, the grass is cut, apart from the bit they left there for wildlife. That was a very atmospheric ringing of the bells. It's an old grave that's had railings around it. This one has gone back to nature, and lovely. It's not a very sunny day today, and if it had been, I'd be raving about the reflections of light through the leaves of the trees. We've got another churchyard that's got more recent headstones. Obviously this is the graveyard that's being used at the moment. View here of the tower and these very mature trees. Beautiful. It's a shame that the clouds have come over today. It's very picturesque here, very picturesque. And here we are looking at the tower and looking up. It's a lovely, lovely tower. Clean, nice, one window, but we've got this door here, and it's got that decoration again above it that there was on that door at the side. And this one's got a little stained glass window, so I've got to have a look. It's a lovely door. It's got the lovely flint squares. There's decoration around. Churchyard ends quite close here to the church, but there's another entrance by the look of it that goes to that secondary churchyard. The sun's come out, and then we're getting this lovely reflection again against the headstones. Look. Oh, and even that churchyard, all the headstones now looks beautiful. We've got shadow, dark and light, beautiful. What a difference the sun makes. Even the birds are singing. Most of the headstones here are so weathered that it's become very difficult to read them. There's two lovely ones side by side here. And the shadows of the leaves against them, they're beautiful. Look at that scene. Two beautiful crosses there. And now we've got the sun shining on that tower. And the birds flying. And the clock. That wonderful scene. Look at that. And look at that. We've got 4 wheelie bins. That, I think, is a record for a church in Suffolk. Very impressive. But back to matters of greater importance.
In affectionate remembrance of Maria, wife of Robert Thomas Saunders, who departed this life March the 30th, 1886, aged 65 years.
She's in a lovely spot. And this one here has had some work to hold it up. That's a considerate job, but all the ivy and everything's growing through. This one's broken down, fallen over. Lots more old headstones down here. This is to Harriet, who's the wife of Robert Tipple. Died in 1811.
In memory of Henry and Mary Beals, who died August 1844, aged 25 years.
So the headstones on this side of the church, they've maintained or perhaps moved them over here from the other side, but they're all in nice neat rows and they look so atmospheric. Look at the angles of them. And then as soon as that sun comes back out again from the clouds, we've got all the shadows. Absolutely stunning. That looks so beautiful. And these double headstones, I love them, but they've weathered so much now we can't read them properly. So the church here, we've got this end bit which had been rendered, with the door in there. The main section is all flint. It's a nice porch with weathered columns in the entrance arch. A light above. All that flint has been redone, reworked. We step down into the porch and we're greeted with a Very welcoming sign that the church is open. Oh, another one of these really tall entrance porches. Look at that. That's an impressive window. Stone around the edges. And another one here to match. It's a very grand porch. Thoughtful little collection of flowers, plants. So we'll try the door. So we enter this church and find a real contrast, dark and light. The church has got a wooden dado, a very dark, beautiful panelled dado. Even the font, which is all carved, sitting on a beautiful base. It's got a dark wooden top. And here, starting on this side, over here we've got a very interesting item. This is the list of the people that are buried here, and the graves have got numbers. And on this side there's a map. So this is the church. This is the entrance we came in, and this is the war memorial. This was where we walked around, and this area here is where it was given back to nature. And then all the headstones that are placed in this area. And those numbers would correspond presumably with that. Excellent idea. Fantastic. See the lovely panelling and dado rail. Beautiful paneling, look, this carved detail here. Picture animals. All things wise, wonderful, the Lord God made them all. The church, from behind the tower, you see this beautiful looking church. It's some unusual features, but the darkness of the pews and this dado, wooden dado around, give it a really wonderful, stunning effect. And there's a cross look on the left with a light on it. That's unusual. Above the pulpit. So we walk down a bit further. Somebody's been in here at the moment. They're working on some gardening stuff, I think. But look at that. Got lovely chandeliers hanging down from the ceiling. There's a carpet of sorts, or a floor covering the red and black tiles. But underneath the pews there are old, they look like wood. They're wood, block wood. A lot of wood then in this church. So the windows here are all plain. A little bit of colour on that one. But here, when we get near the pulpit, we've got a fantastic stained glass window to our left. can look up and see this beautiful old wooden ceiling with broad planks of cladding underneath the supports. 3. Over here to the right we've got this little staircase that's going up. Obviously there was another floor up here. These pews are very old. Very old. Beautiful flower arrangement here next to the pulpit. And the pulpit's beautiful. It's got a canopy. I just love the idea of the fantastic cross above it, which is lit. It's inspirational, that sort of thing. And then this magnificent screen. And we step up into the area here where we find a beautiful green mosaic looking floor. Very unusual. It's a beautiful floor. The colour is tremendous. The pews here are much newer. These definitely look Edwardian to me. And here we've got an impressive organ. Wonderful seat. Looks as if this is used. There's all the pipes up there. The ceiling here is partly filled. Ah, beautiful stained glass window there. And this mosaic pattern continues here in front of the altar. Got a stained glass window to the right. And some thoughtful flowers. A lot of care and work's been going into this church. Over in the corner, to the left of the organ, is another single stained glass window. Beautifully coloured and beautifully designed. Very impressive. And the screen, you can see the beauty of that. This is a very nice church. Stained glass window on the left here. But it's a shame that the light switching has been put where it is and actually hasn't even been contained in maybe a cupboard. I mention the electricity because after all it does spoil the ambience of the church, which after all is what is the beautiful part of it to many people. A little piano here. These pews, I have to remark on them again. They're just fabulous. This is a very old looking church. Old but grand. And if you stripped away the electricity and all the modern features, you'd almost be walking back into history. A sort of a Jacobean feel about it. Now the light's coming through and the bells rang. How atmospheric can that be? Little children's area here or something, perhaps. As we have a final look at this church, I get the feeling of what it must be like, or have been like, for maybe a young child to be in here. There's a feeling of foreboding, really. It's kind of severe, this church, and I would think it was possibly quite frightening or overwhelming for a young child. But very impressive. Step out to the gravel path, and to our left we've got the main road, pigeons cooing away. Final view here of the tower of St Andrew, the Church of St Andrew in Barningham. Rather overpowering church inside. I find it very impressive, but I can imagine that some people might be a little overwhelmed with it, severity of it. But another lovely Suffolk church. Walking away from this Church of St Andrew in Barningham, we discover that there is a second churchyard for the church here on the other side of the road, and this is an entrance, but this entrance here actually is bolted, though it has a pair of gates here, so I'll have a look through. It's got one wheelie bin here. So this is a secondary churchyard, more recent headstones, some older ones perhaps over there. Nice bench to sit on over there. So a second graveyard on the other side of the road is thoughtful and useful for any church. So we say finally a farewell to St Andrew in Barningham.